Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. We're getting started here. We did a few way back in the early days, but we haven't done anything in quite a while. So I thought I would start things off with a little bit of the content that caused me problems when I got started. So the big thing that becomes an issue when you start off on a YouTube channel, and this channel isn't about anything other than learning to use YouTube and growing on it. I have a large solar channel and a couple of other channels, and you watch me for any length of time, you'll get to know them, you'll get to see them. I use them as the actual examples for what I do here. What I do here is purely for educational purposes and for fun, to share what I've learned and to make it nice for all of you also. So I'm hoping that you guys are in for it today. What we're doing is we're talking a little bit about, you've got your channel started, and really what's next. What do you do now that you've got it? Because a lot of people, they look at a channel and they say, okay, I got it, and then they go off on these 100 different directions. So let's get into really what should you be doing and how you should be progressing your channel forward to, I want to see if I can turn this mic up a little bit for you here. Progressing your channel forward so that you know that you've got everything that you need. Now, I do want to check and just make sure that my audio is good here before I go too far forward. I did not check it before I came online. Looks like I'm fine. All right, so let's just move forward right into it, and let's talk about the real question becomes is how many videos have you posted? I constantly hear people say, well, I did this or I did that. And then you ask them, well, how many videos did you post? And the biggest answer that you hear from this often is, well, I've only posted 3. And so the fact is that 3 is not enough to get you any real results and to know what's going on. And oftentimes it can be 50 to 100 videos before you really have an idea of if your channel can take shape. Now, there are a lot of important things you can do between now and then, and we'll go through almost all of them today before we're done here. There are a lot of things that you can do with them that can to help. So my first question to you is, how many videos have you posted? And if the answer is, not very many, then you really need to listen to the rest of this to figure out what you should be doing to prepare for that day when something does take off and when you do see some progress in your channel growth. Most channels fail from confusion, not effort. And what I mean by that is a lot of people get into starting a channel, they don't know what really they're doing, and they just start posting, random stuff. One's about cooking, the next is about their RV trip, the next is about the, what's going on in politics, and then back to, we did this yesterday for lunch, and in a really roundabout way, this creates a very big problem for YouTube and for your channel. It doesn't allow them to really identify who you're going to appeal to. Now, that said, it doesn't mean that it can't work for some. There's always the exception to the rule. Most of the time, that is something that happens to someone who's a little bigger already, has an established audience, and kind of starts to veer off from their original path. It's usually not the first thing that happens. So then keep that in mind as we go through this, is that if you start asking yourself, well, when and where, that's usually a sign that you really need to focus on a few of the elements that we're going to go through. That's one of the first big mistakes that I want to talk about, is posting random content. You need to really sit down with yourself, have a conversation with ChatGPT or yourself or your better half or whatever the case may be, and decide really what you want your content to be. and how you want to go about it. When I did this for my solar channel, I sat down and I thought, okay, I've got everything created. I posted my first video, which was a kind of an accidental video of just here's a battery for someone to do some battery cells that I had ordered. And I said, here's how you measure them. It didn't have any audio, I just posted it. And then I got to thinking, you know, if I'm going to do this, I really need a plan of what is going to be involved in this. And as it turns out, it was probably the best move I ever made, because what it did is it sent very clear signals to YouTube that I am posting solar content, and because I took the time to design what my people were going to look like, what the people I wanted to be there watching my videos, and how I wanted them to perceive me. So I didn't make videos about giant solar farms, because you know, the people that are interested in giant solar farms aren't really the DIY solar people that are interested in building something to run their RV, or to you know, keep the refrigerator running when the power goes off during a hurricane or something like that. Those were the people I wanted. So I devised the perfect, what I call persona, for that person. And that person actually was my neighbor, because the first time he heard I was doing YouTube, the one thing he said to me is, well, tell me, you know, what is this thing about solar? So I built the persona around him about what he was trying to accomplish and what he was trying to do. And then I grew that as he grew, knowing that YouTube isn't looking for you to just build videos that those people that are your persona watch, or at least not the ones that subscribe. They want you to attract new people consistently. So I had to evolve that persona into multiple layers. And my question becomes nowadays, I got that persona at at 1 day, at 30 days, at 90 days, at 6 months, at 12 months. Will this video apply or appeal to a majority of those viewers and new people? And that's really where the question becomes in. So the random content is really the point I'm trying to get across here, is not focusing on a clear niche and direction of your channel. Not only and there's a limit to niching down too far and then being too big. Finding that balance sometimes takes a little bit of time. So I encourage you to think about that from a standpoint of, who are you trying to attract? What is your end game here? If you're looking to create a business, are you just doing it for fun? If you're doing it for fun, then views and monetization and all that, none of that matters. So go have fun, post videos, and don't worry about it. If you're doing it for a business, then you have to think about it from a business perspective. What does YouTube want? What does the viewer want? What does the subscriber want? What does the new person you're after want? And build videos that really attract and work together for all of those. But one of the things that I found that is really important for little people have, little YouTubers have an advantage that big YouTubers don't. They have the ability to create videos that are different and very focused on the type of people they want, where large guys can get away with anything sometimes and make it work, simply because they have such a large following that people say, I'm going to watch Bob's video because it's Bob. But at this point, nobody knows you. So you have that flexibility of molding who those people are into the right people that you want to subscribe to your channel, so that when you release new content, that YouTube finds more of those people. So it's very important that you don't just go out and copy the big creators, because their ability to produce is very different from yours. You need to stay very focused on who you want to attract. They focus more on how much can they attract. And there's a very distinct difference there. For example, you don't want to ask your friends and family to go out and subscribe to your channel. And a lot of them say, well, what's your channel name? And I'll go subscribe. And I'm like, I don't want you to subscribe. And they're like, but why? And I'm like, because you're not the person I want YouTube to go find to watch my next video. I don't want them to put it in front of 1,000 yous, and because 1,000 yous are not really going to want to watch it. You're doing it because you're my friend. So my answer is, don't worry about it. I don't need it. If you want to go watch it, that's fine, but don't do it because you're my friend. I don't want you to like it. I don't want you to friend it. I don't want you to subscribe, because if you do, then I am going to expect that you're actually interested in the content, want to watch it, watch other content like it, and comment on it and respond to it and stuff. And you're not going to do that, and I wouldn't expect you to. I wouldn't want you to ask me to do the same for you. I would support you, I would back you up, I would stand behind you and root for you, but I wouldn't go to your channel and subscribe to it and then not watch it or not really be interested, because that's not going to help you, and it won't help you either. So you don't need more effort, you need more direction. And this thing, I'm going to hammer this into you today, is putting more effort into this isn't really going to make it better. Tightening up what you're doing, defining what you're doing. And I found that spending an hour or a half hour talking to ChatGPT, or planning out a scenario, or doing the 5 questions about a video of what is it going to be about, what problem am I going to solve, who am I attracting, those questions, that time is very well spent. And then when you go into your video, you have a good focus on what you're trying to accomplish. So I encourage you to really focus your direction as much as possible. And the one way to do that is to clearly pick one problem. I found that, generally speaking, doesn't really help as much as picking one individual problem and just work it. And if you solve that problem, record that video and release that video, then other people have that problem and they will find it and come to it. Obviously your thumbnail and your titles are important, but once you get them there, it needs to really deliver. So focus on that one problem, and just one for that video, and make the next video about something else, and another problem at another time and another day. But that's really the biggest thing. A focus of an undefined the difference between a focused and an unfocused channel is if I am a reviewer of technology, and I go out every day and I find, the new phone gadget and I review it, and I find the new mouse gadget and I review it, and I find the new microphone gadget and I review it, then that is a very focused thing. I'm focusing on technology that is, electronic gadgets, and it's very focused. I could also say I'm a reviewer, and one day I could review an automobile, and the next day I could review a fishing reel, and the next day I could review an oil pan, and the next day I could review an airplane model, or some goldfish, or a new air pump for my bicycle. That's very unfocused. Yes, they're all reviews, but there's no theme to them. There's no one person. There's no one individually group of people that I could say they will all want to watch this. They may be from 10 different groups, meaning that if I got 10 subscribers from it, they may be from 10 different groups, because I had 10 different videos that appealed to one to each one, and then they're not going to like the next one. So make sure your channel stays focused. Step 2, titles and thumbnails, they matter, and they matter a lot, because without those, people don't get into your video. Going back to what I said before, once they're in there, you need them to really have something that they solve from. That's what really does it. I found that on my Build Unbound channel, that a lot of the times I'm just building things, and build a new fence, or I build a shed, and it's kind of a DIY type build, to be a little bit more focused and build. Sometimes I build furniture, sometimes I build curtain rods for my wife, or sometimes whatever I'm building around the home, that's what I do on that channel because it doesn't fit my solar channel. So I pulled it out as a solar channel and said, look, I'm not going to do this build over here. I'm going to do these builds over there. But that allows me to stay focused on a particular item and attract the right people over and over because I'm very focused on thumbnails, and once they get in, then I solve a problem for them and they go, all right. Now, I've also found that those people will subscribe because I'm a useful, most handymen or people who want to be handy, or people who've moved out and are learning to be handy, they need a variety of fixes around the house, and that's kind of what I found that works well there. So you have to think sometimes about your niche, how it all works out, and how it all fits in. Make videos for people who are searching for your video. I have a rule of thumb that every other video is what I call greening. And that basically means that half of my videos are about what's going on right now, what can I get the most hits out of, what's trending, what equipment's hot, what's this, what's that. And the other half of my videos, until I get to a point where I'm large enough where I don't need it, is all about what are people searching for. Now, I don't expect these searching for ones to be, explosive in nature. And I wouldn't expect them to. But what they have done is they've provided a consistent growth to the channel. And that growth is extremely important because that's what you need to have a successful channel long term. Now, do I hope that one of these other videos hits big? Sure, great, would be fantastic. But having a goal of that and having a goal to make good content that everyone wants to see, that anyone new that's getting into it will want to go back and binge, that's much more important. So keep that in mind when you're making videos. And I do it at 50-50 until such time that I don't need it anymore. But even my solar channel, where I have over 20,000 subscribers, I went through and did a beginning of the year plan that included 50-50 on it. I stick to it religiously because those are the ones that cause my channel, even when my video that I'm releasing does bad, those videos still do good. And you never know. Sometimes months later they do better than they did when they first release. Stop making my journey videos and make more videos about solving a particular problem. My journey videos work good for some people, for some channels, and for some things. And if that's your journey is to live in the woods for 6 months without any help, that's great. But that's about the daily problem also of living in the woods and surviving for 6 months. So keep that in mind but focus on solving viewer problems, which we've talked about. Simple content formula, why, how, and beginner. So if you get it to the newbie that's walking in off the street and you can tell them why and how you're going to fix something, then you pretty much get you end up with some pretty good formulas that way. It's not the end-all, say-all of everything, but it certainly can be very helpful. What to do this week? This week I would set some expectations. Make sure that you understand that you pick 3 video ideas and 3 formulas, that you do to build 1 to 2 videos. Just build videos, and that's the really kicker here. Pick your niche, but starting to build videos. And I had a conversation with a guy in Texas back a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago now. And he says, how did you get to be so big so fast? And I said, I created a bunch of crap. And you go back and look at my solar channel, and it's a lot of garbage. But the problem is that, and what I was telling him is that, when he was a cook and a chef and everything, and he was telling him, I'm like, well, you wouldn't expect if I decided I wanted to learn to cook tomorrow, that I could be a great cook tomorrow night, right? And he says, well, no. And I said, well, but if I'm not, I'm going to quit. If I can't make it work by cooking 2 meals or 3 meals, then I'm just going to stop. And he says, well, then you're never going to be a great chef. And I'm like, okay, I want you to take the same logic and apply it to YouTube. You can't expect to be a good writer, actor, creator, editor, poster, advertiser, blah, blah, blah goes on and on and on your first couple videos. They all take time and they all take some focus and some learning. And that's why people say 50 to 100 videos. If you're not looking to make 50 to 100 videos, just get them out. Then, and hope that in the process, when you do succeed, and something will hit eventually, when it does happen, that you'll be ready enough to respond to it. Because just because you get lucky and build the content the way that explodes doesn't mean that you can produce it every day unless you've learned to produce it every day. And that's why it's important that you move forward with what you're going to do there. So pick your three video ideas, film 1 to 2 of them in the next week, get them off of your plate. It doesn't matter how good they are or how bad they are. I'm not saying produce garbage. Take some time to think about them, draw time boxes around them and say, look, I'm going to design this video. It's going to spend an hour working on it. And after an hour, you're done, move on. I like to film in slices. I will film when I have time for 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, and I may have 10 projects running at one time. Some weeks, if you're a member on my channel, you'll see that I have backlogs of a month of videos sitting in the queue coming out every other day for a month. 15 or 20 of them sitting there waiting. Other times you join my channel and you become a member and I've got 1 tomorrow's. And, but the fact is that there may be 10 or 15 of them sitting right there that I've been working on for weeks on end. That works for me building solar systems. It may not work for you if you're an idea thinker or something like that. But focus on what title and thumbnail you would do first. Then focus on what problems you're going to be solving and how you're going to be solving it. And write it down and get it written down. Spend 30 minutes to an hour working on that. Build those 3 videos and then take from those 3 videos the best 2, sight unseen at that point or unedited at that point, and move forward. Get them created. Spend the time working on them over the next couple of days, getting them filmed, and then start editing them. What I usually do is I'll edit everything because I've put them together in piecemeal over a period of a week or 2 as I'm filming. And then I'll put the whole thing together, edit it, and I'll say, okay, you know what this is really missing? It's missing X, Y, and Z. And I go out and I film X, Y, and Z. I'm missing a beginning. I'm missing a piece in the middle with some description. I'm missing a closing. It's usually the closing that I'm missing. And I didn't realize I had it all filmed, and then I'm like, oh, it's all done. What am I going to do now? It's all operating. So that's what I'm saying. Focus on that. Don't worry about being perfect. And by God's, for all sakes in the world, please stop worrying about equipment. I filmed on an iPhone 10. My wife bought me an iPhone 17 for Christmas. I filmed on an iPhone 10 and this little cheap microphone. Let me see if I can find it. This little cheap Amazon microphone that I got for $28. This little thing. I filmed on this for almost my whole YouTube career, simply because they work great, they're cheap, they're inexpensive, and then my phone. And if you've got a current iPhone, you don't even need the microphone as long as you're recording close enough to you. Oftentimes in the shed, when I see something I need to record or shorts, I'll just turn my phone on and walk around like this and just record using the microphone that's built in. I won't even use my mic, my nice EGI mic that I love, but it's not necessary to make good videos to do that, especially if you're using something like DaVinci Code, DaVinci Resolve, where you can go straight into it and you can say noise canceling and it cuts out all the noise. It makes everything sound beautiful. And then you can tune the percentage of noise reduction you want. So a lot of the times if I'm screwing things in, I still want the sound of the screwdriver, the impact screwdriver to go off, but I don't want all the background noise. So you can tune that down where you still get that aspect of it. But those are the things you need to learn before your channel is really going to explode. Don't worry about perfectness. Don't worry about gear. Just use what you have. Build the best video you can right now and get 2 of them posted. And you get those 2 posted and it becomes a whole lot easier. Then you start to think. One of the ideas that I use after that is I have index cards sitting practically everywhere in the house, and new ideas, when they come up, I just write them on an index card, and I keep a stack of index cards. And then when I want to build my plan going forward for the next month or for the next 2 weeks or whatever, I can look at those index cards and I can say, oh, you know, I can film that, I've got 10 minutes, or I can film this, I got 10 minutes, or I can do the unboxing of this. I may not be able to do the configuration or setup today, but I can at least do the unboxing. And I get them unboxed, and then I get them over there, and I'm like, well, if I spend 10 minutes setting this up, and then I can spend another 20 minutes off camera, I can film this aspect of it, and so on and so forth. But that's the thought that I use. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to show everything under the sun. Show what you need to do to get your point across and to educate them and show them how to do it. Sometimes showing them the pain. I did an inverter in video one time where I hung the inverter, or tried to hang the inverter 3 times before I got it right. It was hilarious, it was funny, so I showed it. But I showed the whole hanging it 3 times scene in about 45 seconds. I didn't show it from beginning to end every time. So sometimes you don't need all of it. Consistency beats perfection early on. And what I mean by that is when you first start, you're still learning. You don't have a lot of subscribers. You don't have a lot of viewers. It's important that you learn to keep to a schedule, to block yourself in so you don't get stuck. Make your rule. I'm going to deliver a video once a week. I'm going to deliver 2 videos a week. Preferably, I like 3 videos a week is the best. And sometimes, depending on how well things are going for me, I'll even do every other day, which I'm doing right now on my solar channel. So consistency will beat perfection early on. Later on, as you get more experience and your people expect more, you can spend more time on it. But now, spend more time educating yourself and learning. And the only way you learn is just like the cook. You got to cook those meals. You got to learn the steps. You got to figure out how to glaze things, to butter things, to boil things, to bake things, to coordinate all of these items and these new tasks that you're learning. The mind shift, the mindset here is learning, not performing. And what I mean by that is you are learning to become a creator, not a creator, in the sense that you're a creator when you have a successful video. And the sooner you have that successful video, the less time you have between now and then to get good. So my point is that you need to spend time right now making as many videos as you can, posting those videos, getting that feedback, understanding what works, double down on those things that do work, cut out those things that don't work, and learn what your audience wants. But keeping in mind, don't make videos of a channel you don't want, because that will be the one that's successful and you will be stuck. I had a person I was working with that built a video about funny cats, and it blew up and destroyed their channel because now they've got this video with 2 million views on it and thousands of subscribers, and their original channel that had 400 subscribers that they worked years to get about auto mechanics is gone because nobody on that channel wants to see anything about auto mechanics. Nobody wants to see him drop a drain pan or any of that gobbledygook. They want to see cats. So now his channel's destroyed and he has to start over. And that 400 people that were there that were watching, what happens to them? They either get inundated with new cat videos, or you start having massive losses and bad channel reviews and stuff because you don't have any cat videos. It's just it's a catch-22. Transition to Q&A. And what I mean by that is especially pay close attention to every single person that asks you a question, that answers a question. You are there to answer questions. Take them all at what they are, whether it's from a video, whether it's email, encourage it. As of right now, please, if you have a comment, put it in the comments below, because that's what I use to give my direction. Answer, why am I getting no views? You're not getting any views because at this point, you're not giving the clear direction to the algorithm to find the right people for you. And once you do, it will start to grow and grow, and then your videos need to be better, and your thumbnails need to be better, and And even though sometimes you can do it really well on one channel, that doesn't mean you can do it really well on another, because the audience is different. That means what you need to do is different. For example, this channel doesn't do near as well as my solar channel. I have all the same knowledge, I have all the same experience, but the people and the way to attract people and what they're interested in and what I've learned from the solar channel isn't necessarily identical here. How long should videos be? They should be whatever it takes to get the answer across without pushing it for extension. Initially, I would say go for 10 to 12, 15 minutes. I would also say that if you theme a bunch of them together, like I themed a whole bunch about building a solar shed, then release a compilation of those where there's, they're 2 hours long or they're an hour and a half long. See what works for your type of people. On my solar channel, the long content works fantastic. On other channels I have, it doesn't work at all. So you really need to play with it. But I would say start with 10 to 15 minutes. That means you're going to probably end up filming 20 to 30 minutes, and you're going to sit there and you're going to cut and cut and cut and cut until you get it to as small as you possibly can. Somebody said something to me back a few months ago, probably over a year ago, that if I can cut it out and it doesn't change the video, then it shouldn't have been there in the first place. And so that's something you can ask yourself. If I cut this out and I just go play from what I had up to it and then skip over and play what I got after it, did it change the video any? Did it change the resolution in that watcher's mind? And if the answer is no, then cut it. And sometimes that's hard to do because there's pieces of it you're really proud of and they're not needed. And so that's very difficult to do. How long until growth happens? Growth happens when it happens. Sometimes it's right away. Sometimes it's a really long road. Most people, it's between 1 and 2 years of very hard work, of very consistently posting, very tight niches, very good videos, learning, getting educated, and really pushing it over and over and over, constantly over and over. That does not mean there aren't some exceptions. I'm an exception. My YouTube channel took off almost immediately. I had several good videos. At the same time, I was there when the things happened that I could recognize, the videos I needed to double down on, the videos that were doing good, the pillars that I saw, hey, this is something bigger than just 2,000 views on a channel that I'm only getting 50 views. All of a sudden I got something that's got 2,000 views. There's something here. I recognized that. I took full advantage of it. So I would say that for most people, though, it's 18 to 24 months. Figure out your direction. Make sure it's nice and clear. Put the effort towards that direction. That's where you need to go. Titles and thumbnails and editing, those are the 3 things you really need to spend your time on. I would also spend time on the drafting up what the video is going to be about. Decide what you're going to solve up front. Make sure that when that video is done, you've given them an answer, that you knew that, how to write in cursive, but when you finish, you have shown them how to write in cursive, and they could do it if they just watch that video. Don't make any assumptions. All right. Hope this has been helpful. I hope this helps you out. I hope this works a lot. I know that it's not easy getting started, and I've started multiple channels with some various degrees of success, one that explodes, one that doesn't, one that's a slow grind. It's very difficult. I encourage you to stick with it. Don't give up. It's very hard. Comment down below on where you are and what you're doing, and we'll talk about it in the next live stream, or maybe I'll even make a video about it, because that's what I do. I pay attention to what you're looking for and what problems I'm having. We put them together and we make videos about it. That's what creators are here for, is we're here to entertain for some people, we're here to inform for other people, and we're here to educate for others. I found that the education area is probably the most apt to what I do, is I like to teach people how to do things, how to use YouTube, how to install solar, how to build things. Those are my big things, is the how to. I hope that helps you define what you're doing. And if you need help with that, in the links below, I'll include a couple of QR codes here for you. It's a free checklist on how to grow. If you scan this checklist, it'll take you to a web page. Sign up with your email address. It'll send you a link on different ideas and checklist of what we just went over, much more thorough than what we went just went over, but it'll allow you to identify it. If you want to schedule a one-on-one, this one here is one-on-one with me. You can schedule it. It's also the same one I use for my solar channel. Just let me know in the description of what we're going to be talking about. Unless it is solar, then I'll be glad to talk to you about that also. And then the last one is if you want me to do a channel review for you, I do have that service also. Here it is. I'll do a full channel review and I'll give you all the feedback and probably will even make a video about it so that you have that information. Anyway, those are all three of the links I have for you today, and I hope this helps. We'll see you on the next one, and thanks for watching.